All right, I'm rolling, so you guys can go whenever you
All
want.
right, we're
I'm
gonna
going to shut all the doors.
we're gonna do four 12-minute segments right around there. It should go pretty
12,
cool.
13, yeah.
12,
Because you
13,
want 51, right?
51 and all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're going to need like 12 and a half to 13.
All right, ready to rock?
You do this every day, or?
No, fuck no.
Oh, just once a week.
I do it once a week in the trenches once a week. That's good enough. Let me make sure he's not doing work here. All right. All right, here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to In the Trenches. First and foremost, let me show love to Manny and Gordon. Anything litigious, go see my guy Jack Gordon. He's the best at what he does. FightNegligence.com. In the Trenches, I've been doing it, I want to say, nearly 10 years now, and we have quite a few people listening. Thank you. I appreciate that. I guess I'm supposed to say hit a like and all that kind of stuff. I'm not a prostitute. But I enjoy doing this. I enjoy talking about the Buccaneers. But in the offseason, it becomes tough at times because there's no Buccaneer games. And right now, there's nothing going on except for playoff football. So I still want to bring something to the people. And I thought about it, and I thought kind of a where are they now type of thing. There's plenty of former Buccaneers in this area that are hustling, and just like myself. And this young man, I didn't play with him. I know some people have played with him. They all have mad respect for him. I consider him a friend that we've worked together a few times, and just seems to be a good dude. Mr. Martin Gramatica, what's up, brother?
Appreciate it, man. No,
Good to see
thanks
you.
for having me.
Now, Martin Gramatica, I'm going to do these shows, and when I'm interviewing, Tony Mayberry is going to be on, Mark Royal is going to be on, you know those names. I'm going to almost interview you like I don't know you.
Okay.
Okay, so I know a little bit about you, all right? But I want the people to learn about Martin Gramatica and what makes him tick.
Perfect.
First, let's start from the beginning. Where is Martin Gramatica from?
I am originally from Argentina.
Okay.
But I moved here when I was 9, grew up in the Fort Myers area, La Belle, small town. So I've been in Florida my whole life,
Okay.
pretty much, but I'm Argentinian.
Now, growing up till 9 years old in Argentina, what was your exposure to football?
Zero.
Like you didn't know nothing about the sport.
I didn't know it existed. I didn't know football. There was no internet. There was no way to find out. So when we landed in Miami, the Dolphins were on. Obviously, that was the Marino era.
Yeah.
And we thought they were playing rugby with helmets.
Okay.
We're like, what is this sport?
Okay.
I had never seen football. I've never seen baseball or basketball. We played soccer, tennis, and we did a swim camp in the summers. That's it. That was our sports.
That is crazy.
And rugby was pretty popular.
Sure.
But I didn't play.
I grew up playing rugby, and I love the game of rugby. It's almost like sports radio for me. I'd never heard sports radio before I got into it. Not one time. I didn't know it existed. And I'm glad I didn't, because if I was playing, I'd been upset.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I've
Absolutely. You want to jump through the car radio.
No doubt about that. So going back to Argentina, your upbringing, you had two parents, upbringing by two parents?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. I didn't get a chance to read your book. I heard from others, you had kind of tumultuous relationship with your father. You want to talk about that?
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. And a lot of people asked me to write a book. It's like, oh, you're Argentinian and you won a Super Bowl.
Yep.
They didn't know the guts of it or the middle of it. They didn't, and a lot of times it surprised people because it was, at the time, we didn't know any better.
Okay.
It was very abusive, abusive towards us. I had two younger brothers, but also my mother.
Abusive in how? What way?
Oh, everything. Physical, mental.
Really?
I mean, when I tell people we couldn't watch TV, we had a TV this big, like the size of an iPad.
Okay.
With a VHS. So we would rent the movies, put it on, and if we heard them coming down the stairs, we'd have to unplug everything and throw it in the closet. Wow. We weren't allowed to watch TV. Can you believe that? I mean, I don't know why. I couldn't explain it.
At any age? At any age?
No. Maybe we watched cartoons when we were little, whatever, but we weren't allowed to watch movies, like VHS tape. We weren't allowed to do that.
Do you feel that was tough love, or do you feel like there was any love in it?
No, you can't. And this is where I broke that broke the cycle or broke the chain, is when I had my own son. Then I realized I love my kids so much.
Absolutely, yes.
I could never do what's being done to me and my brothers and I to my kid. So that's when I realized, okay, this is wrong. Until then, you don't know it's wrong.
Exactly.
You grow up with it. You grow up with that, and you think that's it.
No doubt.
Even in college, I mean, he maneuvered our lives. Even when I was in the pros, and when Coach Dungy wrote the foreword for the book, which Coach Dungy's one phone call, he's like, whatever you need.
He's amazing.
He apologized to me for not realizing that I was going through that, and I said, Coach, there's no way you could have known.
Sure.
And I apologize for not trusting you in it. Not that I didn't trust Coach Dungy, that it was embarrassing.
Sure.
Can you imagine if I go to, hey, Coach, I'm 25 years old and I'm getting abused by my dad and I have this family issue.
He was still verbally abusing at 25?
Physical.
Your dad put his hands on you when you're 25.
Absolutely.
Now, what was the situation where that stopped? Because it's got to stop. It's got to stop.
Well, it stopped. It stopped when I had Nico and I decided, and I don't know, there were issues before, but after having Nico, I said, this is it. I don't want my kid ever seeing this.
No, absolutely not.
And we were basically brainwashed to know that if we ever fought back, he would kill us, basically. So, no.
Whoa, Jesus.
For one of my brother's graduations, he had too much to drink. We were running through the woods as he was taking shots. I don't know what he was shooting at. It was that bad.
Your father was shooting at you and your brothers?
Yes. And people don't believe that, but
I need to get the book. I swear to you, Martin, I thought...
I signed a book for you, but I'll get you another.
No, I did. I remember. I have it somewhere, but I haven't read a book since high school. I didn't even read a book then. But I thought I had a crazy upbringing. Like, I was like, man, my childhood... It wasn't. I hear other people's stories. My childhood was very basic. Like, there was no violence. There was no abuse. There was no drug abuse. There was no alcohol. There was not. I had a very easy, smooth childhood. So.
But can you imagine Ian going to a game knowing that if you played bad?
No, I can't.
Your father would leave you? And there was no cell phones. There was no way.
He left you at the field?
Oh, yeah. So, and this is here in Tampa. So we're in Fort Myers, LaBelle. And if he didn't think I'd play up to the standard, he would leave, just take off. And
just leave the game.
Leave the game, leave the Tampa, and then I have to find a way with a teammate. My mom would have to pick me up in Fort Myers.
Oh, boy.
There's one time I broke my wrist.
Okay.
He was mad because I wouldn't keep playing. He sticks me in the car, and he goes to watch the game, finish the game, because I broke it in the first half. So, it was rough. It was rough. But, I mean, I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me.
I get that.
When they read the book, because it made me who I am today and made me a way better father.
Correct.
Because I love my kids, I love my wife, and I'll do anything for them. So that, to me, my experience made me who I am today. So it's not. But the purpose for the book was that somebody reads the book and is going through what I went through or what we went through.
Sure.
They can realize, man, there's a way out. And make it sooner than I did. I waited till I had a kid. I should have done it 10, 15 years earlier.
No doubt about it. Now, I've always wondered this because I know how I was brought up. I was always hungry. I was never really given anything. You know what I mean? I was never that guy. I mean, played in the NFL for 9 years, but even to this day, nobody's ever celebrated me. You know what I mean? Like, nothing was ever given to me.
Right.
Where do you think, because there's a lot of stuff that's overused in the media. He has a chip on his shoulder. There's not an athlete that ever played a professional sport that doesn't have a chip on your shoulder. You can't make it unless you have a chip for some reason, okay? Where did your chip come from? Was it to prove your father wrong? Or do you think maybe some of the things your father instilled in you, it doesn't sound like he's instilling too much that's positive to me.
Right.
How did you become Martin Gramatica, what you ended up being?
A couple things. First of all, I knew I didn't like school, so I knew sports was my out.
Yeah, you and me both.
And soccer was first. And then when I switched over to football, as soon as I started kicking my first ball, I said, I got to go make money. I got to make the NFL. Even though I was horrible at the beginning. But we had an offensive lineman that kicked with her toes, so they thought, soccer style, you are great.
I could beat him, yeah.
Right, but we weren't that good. But luckily, when I went to Kansas State with Coach Snyder and Sean Snyder, they helped me become a kicker.
Sure.
But that was the main thing. I wanted to be able to be financially stable where one day maybe separate from that. But it made it worse because the more money you make, the more they leech on.
Sure.
So that actually made it worse. Coming to Tampa, as much as it was a blessing, it was almost a curse because now they're here.
Yeah.
So I couldn't separate either. Even when I was at Kansas State, they would be there a lot.
Sure.
So, but that was it for me. I just wanted to be able to have independence. And I loved to compete. Like even as a little kid, like when I lost in soccer, I would cry out of anger, not because you beat. I was just so angry. I couldn't wait to play again. I always had that mentality that I just loved to compete. To this day, we play in the backyard. I mean, you think it's the World Cup, and we're killing each other in the backyard, which is stupid sometimes. But you gotta have.
It sounds stupid, but and I know, and Mark Royals comes and we play pools. Me and Mark Royals play pool.
He's never gonna let you win.
No, he's not gonna let me win.
Exactly.
Although I beat him 2 out of 3 last time, by the way.
Nice.
Mark can shoot, but professional athletes have a different mentality. They do. Okay, It's like I don't participate in things that I'm not good at. Like, I don't like to lose. Now, you know and I know the dog that we had in us because football was our way out, okay? Without football, I'm not here. I didn't have a nice house. I didn't have a nice car. I don't know. Maybe I would have made it as an entrepreneur, but I don't know. Clearly, early in my life, football was the way out. Do you ever think for a second the difference between yourself and your children? I thought about that a lot because my children had. Your children had.
Right.
They had. They didn't want for anything. Although your son still ended up, or he's still at USF now, I text you about 2 seconds after he made that first kick. I'm like, you can't stick a kid out. Well, how long was the first kick?
58.
You can't stick a kid out for the first kick at 58, and he nails it right through the damn middle, and he does a Gramatica run around. So where did he get it from? Is it because your wife looks as inspired as you?
She's worse than me.
Yeah, I can
Don't
see
let
it.
her fool you. Don't let her fool you.
I was trying to be nice, but your
No,
wife, she looks like she's the boss. Your wife looks very serious, and I see your kids are very serious about their athletics, you know?
She played competitive tennis. She played at USF.
Well, that explains things,
and tennis is a different sport now because you're all by yourself,
Absolutely.
so you don't have teammates. So that's it's for her. She's super driven. Like she works out. She worked out the day before she gave birth. Okay, so that she's sick.
She's that one. Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like that's the way we wanted to be role models for our kids. You know, the work ethic, hard work. Our kids, like you said, they have, but they have to earn. And the one thing that I will never allow them is to be lazy. Like my kids, do you need a car? We'll get you the car as long as you're playing college football.
Correct.
Now, if you say I don't want to kick anymore or I don't want to play college football anymore, well, you go get a job and get a car. So now you're in the real world. So we're going to provide and give you that all the tools possible to make it. And as long as you give everything you have. And luckily, you know, my wife's got that work ethic. So they have super, super strong work ethic. That's the one thing I'm more proud of. Like when people tell me, oh, he had a 58-yarder, that's great. But when I hear like he's super polite, he shakes hands, you know, he's a good kid, that's when we won. You know, the sports, I'm sure when you hear something positive about your kids, say, hey, they were great kids, they were polite. That's more valuable than he made a field goal.
Way
You know what I mean? So that's where we're so proud of the boys, the way they are. And my daughter, too. I mean, the kids.
And listen, I think our mentalities are very similar. What you just said, I lived the same thing as a parent. I didn't give my children anything. They earned stuff. Right. They got a car. They had one car between my 3 kids. They all had to pay for their insurance. They all had to get jobs when they were 16. And now they're all succeeding out there because I didn't hold their hands. Right. Okay, you can't hold these kids' hands. And it was hard for me, you know, with my kids growing up in Cobrith Isles with all the bougie-ass kids, with everything, it was hard to not make them act like these kids. Right. I didn't want them to act like, because when I was growing up, I hated the rich kids. And my kids are rich kids. So I tried my best to ground them. It was very, very hard.
But that's a good word, though, grounding.
And I don't mean actually you can't leave the house, but ground them as in, listen, this ain't real. This ain't reality. And what you said, I've said a million times, success is great, but when somebody said, hey, I ran into your daughter, or the other day I was at Fleming's and I walked into my daughter's work where she had a Christmas party and her boss came and he goes, come here. He goes, Peyton is an unbelievable leader. When she's done, she goes and helps people, and she's just, and I almost started to cry. You know what I mean? That made me feel good because she was kind of timid growing up, but I think they're always watching. You know what I mean? They're always watching dad and people that they look up to. All right, let's take a quick break, and we're going to come back. This is In the Trenches. We have the great Martin Gramatica, and we're going to pick his brain a little bit about his career on the other end. So we'll be back.